It's been a little while since I've told this story, so go ahead and hop on my lap here by the fireplace and I'll tell you a tale. As is common with most of my stories I've told on the channel, this takes place during the period of my life where I thought it was cool to be a mysterious anime character. This was like my early years of college. As you can probably imagine, my ability to socialize during this time was absolutely pathetic. Having a conversation with a magic 8-ball would have been more fun and engaging than talking to me back then. Those poor souls that talked to me back then probably instantly regretted it, because having a conversation with old Charlie was like talking to Alexa if she was overdosing on Xanax. It was rough. Why is this important though? Because this is setting the stage for one story I haven't told yet. I've told so many stories when it comes to all of the fucking weird and creepy interactions I've had with women. All my fault, of course, just because I was so unbelievably socially inept. Like, it's hard to put into words how bad I was at recognizing social cues and how to be, like, acceptable in society. I fucking bought one of those fake cigarettes one time. You know that shit that kids would buy from Spencer's when they were like 12? I bought one of those things when I was 18 because I thought it looked cool and I hated real cigarettes. You know how fucking sad that is? I'm surprised I didn't buy one of those colorful propeller hats and started spinning it to try and look cool or something. It was rough. So what I'm saying is, socially, I was the worst thing you could fucking imagine, but it didn't stop me from trying to have conversations with women. I tried to fake confidence, fake it to make it, and all of that shit, and today's story will be in that ballpark. So, this story takes place in a location where all good social interactions take place, at GameStop. So let me take you back to the past when my social interactions sucked ass. This is GameStop 2012, 2011, somewhere in that ballpark. I was, of course, Virgin Boy Charlie, if you can even believe that. Some say I lost my virginity before my dad, but the truth is, I was actually a virgin, embarrassingly enough. And I was doing what all virgins did, using Reddit for some advice. And Reddit is one of the worst places when it comes to seduction and just general advice when it comes to human interaction, because it's the blind leading the blind. The people giving that advice, they have likely never talked to a human being before. They're probably getting all of their social cues the same place I was. Fucking anime. So I was using anime and r/relationship or something, I don't remember what subreddit, and these two things were clashing, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take both of these, do like a little unholy fusion dance, and become this ultra chad, the product of great advice and great animation. And I was going to channel this and show that, you know, I'm becoming more confident in myself by flirting with girls in public. And I chose my first rodeo to be at GameStop. Before going to GameStop, I had decided that I was going to march into GameStop, right up to the counter to the girl that worked there and call her beautiful right to her face. I was going to look her in the eyes. I was going to say, ma'am, you are fucking beautiful. You are gorgeous. I don't know what I expected to happen next because I didn't have a follow-up. Maybe I was fantasizing like one of those dream scenes where all of a sudden, like an anime, the girl blushes and then she calls out her 3 twin sisters or something, and they all fall in love with me. I don't know. But that was my game plan. And I was hyping myself up. I was like a football player in the locker room before the championship game, headbutting lockers. I put on a necklace, and I never wear a necklace. I found like this old gold necklace from probably when I was a kid, but my neck is still the same size as a kid's, so it still fit. I spiked my hair up real well, fucking drowned it in gel, and I mean drowned it in gel. I looked like a freshly born baby covered in amniotic fluid up there, and I felt like $1,000,000. Today was the day I was going to say to a girl, she is beautiful. So I hop into my Batmobile and I cruise on over to GameStop. I get to the door, I open it, and it's like everything else just melted around me. Time froze, and there she was, behind the desk, the only female employee at this particular GameStop, and she looked miserable. Probably because she's working at a fucking GameStop, but I was gonna make her day better by being the only man in GameStop history with the confidence to say that she was beautiful. You know, I'm sure she doesn't hear that every day from other socially inept fucking slime balls. So I was going to be the first, the trendsetter. Truly a pioneer. So I meandered around a little bit, just making sure I was building up enough confidence, going over the lines in my head. The line I was going to use was when she was done ringing me up, I was going to say, "Thank you, beautiful," and then wait to see her response, see what she says to this, hoping that she wouldn't call the police or have security come tackle me. So, I finally pick out a game, some used game I'm sure, because I was big into used games for a long time. I slam that shit on the counter because I'm ready. She starts by asking me a couple questions. Am I a member of GameStop Power Plus Ultra program? Well, no, I'm not. She's going off script. I wasn't accounting for this. It's freeform now. The dialogue has been all fucked up. I'm getting a little jumbled in my head. I'm getting nervous. I wasn't expecting to be interrogated by her today. I'm not a member of this GameStop program. Would I like to be? Well, shit, would it help my chances with you? I don't know. I'm going through all kinds of scenarios in my head. It's like a visual novel. There's a bunch of different branching paths I could choose from. I'm panicking. I'm breaking down a bit. My composure is starting to falter. There's sweat on my brow and a tickle in my sack. I was not prepared for this at all. She then asked me, do I want my receipt? Another question I wasn't anticipating. Do I say, thank you, beautiful, now? No, that wouldn't make sense because she asked me a question. I can't just respond with a... I have to answer the question. Everything's all falling apart at once. It's like Salvador Dali's painting where the clocks are melting. I'm running out of time. I don't know when to say this line. And no, I don't really want this receipt. What am I going to do? Wipe my ass with it? I paid $3 for some garbage used game. I tell her, no, thank you, you keep the receipt. And that's when she says it. A sentence that could dampen the pants of any man, even the strongest men. She says, thank you for shopping at GameStop. I freeze. I don't know how to respond. I stand there for what feels like hours, looking at the ground, wondering, is now the time? And then I decide I muster the courage within myself, the strength to go forward. I say, thank you, beautiful. I'm still looking at the ground when I say this, because I haven't earned the right to look my GameStop queen in the eyes yet. And then I do what any sane man would do. I ran away. I fucking jogged away. Before she could even, actually respond, I started jogging away with the bag in my hand like I just stole the game from GameStop. But I did hear her say, oh. I know for a fact she said, oh, as I turned my back to run away. I ran all the way to my car, hearing that oh in my head the entire way there, got in, slammed the door, and I thought to myself, Charlie, you did it. We just made that employee extremely uncomfortable, and man, do I feel like shit about it. It was a good lesson to learn. That was probably already the 5th or 6th time that lady had been hit on that day by fucking weirdos like me. She probably just up and quit that day. That was probably the last straw right there. I don't know, because I never went back. I was just so goddamn embarrassed about this whole thing, but I do imagine she quit that day. But yeah, I tell you this story in the hopes that people will learn from it. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Don't be a fucking weirdo, and don't, yeah, that's basically it, really. That's about it. So yeah. Welcome to another riveting story time from my compendium of social ineptitude. Today's story takes place during high school when I thought breakdancing was the dopest shit. I used to think breakdancers were society's alpha males that couldn't walk 5 steps in public without falling penis first into a consenting vagina. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to learn to be a b-boy, an ultimate breakdancing Chad, to impress girls. Keep in mind, this was about a decade ago, so there was movies coming out that focused on breakdancing and how cool it was. The one that had the biggest impact on me was called You Got Served. That movie was like my Eye of the Tiger. I would throw that shit on religiously to get myself pumped up and motivated, start pumping testosterone into my dick yeah, alright, I'll start serving people soon, I can do this. So I'd watch a shitload of shitty expert village tutorials on breakdancing till I got to a point where I was like, I'm confident, I can do this in front of people now and it'll be really cool. Spoiler alert, I was never actually good at it and it was never cool, but that didn't stop me. Every single school dance function from probably freshman year of high school to senior year of high school, I would be that fucking sociopath on the dance floor during the first song, busting it wide open. You know, at all the dances like homecoming and shit, the first song nobody's on the dance floor because it's not cool? Well, I'd fucking cherish that moment. I would charge that dance floor like a football team storming the stadium field. I was all about that first song life. And this was during the time where the jerk was popular. Well, not really. It was kind of on its way out anyway. But I was still trying to hold on to that glory of the jerk. So I had this little routine that I would do at every dance function, every single fucking one of them. And unfortunately, I still remember kind of the beginning of it. So I'm going to give you a little sneak preview of what it looked like. Breakdancing. I know, ladies, just leave your sodden panties in the dirty clothes and wash them later. What you just saw right there, what you just bore witness to, was a body wave into a 6-step combination, a little groundwork that I tossed in there for flair, then the jerk tacked on at the end. A combination move only fit for the most elite b-boy gods out there. Now at the time, this was 10 years ago, I was far more limber so I could go from the kneeling position to the standing position without fucking blowing up my meniscus. Now is a different story, I can't exactly do it as well as I did back then, but in a nutshell, that's kind of what it looked like back then too, honestly. And let me tell ya, it wasn't cool. I don't think that routine I came up with will ever be cool. If I'm wrong, please, some b-boys out there, make it better and send it to me. I'd love to see how that could possibly be improved, because in my eyes, that's as good as breakdancing gets. And they didn't appreciate it. So my high school just didn't really have a taste for the finer breakdancing things, because no girls ever thought that was cool, surprisingly. And let's fast forward. So I do that at all the dances. It never really got me anywhere or anything, and I never changed the routine. That was about the extent of it. That was my breakdancing prowess on full display. That was me sailing at full mast, full erection, red alert, and nobody gave a shit. It wasn't cool to them, and it clearly just objectively is not a very good routine. But let's fast forward to senior year. I'm still doing that routine, and I finally worked up the courage to ask a girl for her number, and she humored me by actually giving it to me. She was clearly not interested, but that didn't stop good old B-boy Charlie from trying. So in order to try and get her genuinely interested in at least like kissing me on the cheek or asking me to tie her shoes or something romantic like that, I would send her videos of me doing routines like that. But I didn't have any friends to videotape that, because no one was that close to me. In fact, I don't think any of my friends would do that now, because it's just embarrassing. So what I would do is I would have my dad take videos of me doing breakdancing like you just saw, except by senior year I was a little bit better. So I was able to do like kind of head spins. I couldn't do like a head spin without supporting myself with my hands. So I could kind of just like walk my head around very slowly. And I would have my dad videotape that. It'd be like a 2-minute video of me just walking my head around slowly like that on the floor. And I would send her that. And she was such a fucking sweetheart. She would send me things like, "That's so cool," or "Rad." It just, man, it was pathetic. Genuinely pathetic. So I'd continue to do this. And then she stopped replying. That's how that story ends. So, in a nutshell, I still think, power moves and breakdancing are cool as shit. I can't do them. My body just wasn't made for that type of activity. But I respect the men who can, and I still think that's cool. But the lesson here is, if you're not good at breakdancing, don't try. Don't use it to impress people. Definitely don't do it at parties or at bars or at school dance functions or anything. Just keep it to yourself. And definitely don't have your father videotape them, because that's equally as embarrassing. And trust me, I wasn't shy about telling her who videotaped that. I said, "Look at what my dad just filmed me doing," like it was some type of candid photo shoot or shot. So, the lesson here, just, don't be a fucking idiot, I guess. There's really no lesson here. I don't think there's a lot of people out there that are trying to breakdance to impress girls in 2018. Now it's all about your Fortnite wins. But even if there is still that splinter cell of dudes out there that are blood, sweat, and tears pouring cum into the breakdance art, make sure you're really good at it before you show anyone that shit. Trust me. It'll save you a lot of embarrassment. See ya. What's up, everybody? It's Critical. For years, I've gotten emails asking me to tell more stories, so that's what I'm gonna do tonight. Cozy on up, pop a squat down by the fireplace, and listen to my nipples. Ashamedly, this tale isn't that old. It happened last year. After my long-term relationship ended, I had devolved into a socially inept husk. I had completely forgotten how to flirt or talk to females in a romantic way. It was bad. Every time I even tried to talk to a girl, I sounded like a troglodyte ODing on sleeping pills, and God forbid a girl ever made the mistake of starting a conversation with me. They would soon find out that I was fundamentally fluent in aphasia. The shit that was coming out of my mouth was just unintelligible. It was downright disrespectful to humanity how bad I was at flirting. But there's one night in particular that I still lose sleep over when I think back on. One event that to this day, when I'm about to ejaculate, makes my penis tingle in an unpleasant way. It was the very first weekend after my breakup, and I was going to a bar with my friends. I was going out with the intent of just drinking and having a good time and not worrying about anything. But my friend's sister insisted she wingman me that night, and I knew deep down in my soul that it would be a fucking train wreck. The night was darker than usual, the moon tucked away behind the clouds as if trying to cover its eyes and shield itself from the awkwardness that was about to unfold at this poor little bar. As if the moon knew just how shitty this experiment was going to turn out. But anyways, in my friend's sister's defense, she was an outstanding wingman, but the odds were stacked against her because she was trying to wingman a fucking sinking ship of social skills. So she was taking me to meet everyone at the bar. We met a ton of people. She was just dragging me along like I was her suitcase, except this suitcase wasn't filled with clothes or toiletries. It was just filled with awkwardness. And nothing too noteworthy happened. I managed to meet all of these new people without shitting my britches, which was a Herculean task, so that's an accomplishment that I'm very proud of. But then the very last 2 people we met will forever be etched into my memory. It was 2 attractive women, just casually drinking at one of the tables by the bar, as the bar was clearing out since it was getting late. The weatherman may have predicted cloudy with moderate humidity, but what he couldn't predict, what no one could have predicted, was the storm of awkwardness that was about to befall the area. My friend approached them the same as she had all the others, and as I trailed behind her, I could feel something deep inside of me pulling me, as if a future version of myself was trying to yank me away from the situation so I wouldn't have this memory. But alas, I disregarded the feeling and continued forward, each step towards their table, a new scar that I bear. We make it to the table. Small talk begins. Names are exchanged. I instantly forget both of their names, but I remember how I introduced myself to them. I extended my hand for a handshake like I'm conducting a fucking business meeting. Oh yes, ladies, I'll need the stock reports on my desk, 8 a.m. sharp. But the worst part of this gesture is when they do oblige my handshake, I kung fu grip them. I grab their hands hard as shit. It's like that scene in The Predator where Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers get in the handshaking competition. Oh, they got you pushing too many pencils. Well, I was pushing too much awkwardness right from the get-go. So yeah, suboptimal start, bit of a rocky beginning. Chalk that one up to nerves though, you know, that's excusable. So my friend's sister starts distracting one of the girls. Oh, do you go to UT too? What sorority are you in? This and that. Working under the assumption that I am not a bumbling goober and can handle a one-on-one conversation with the other girl. Rookie mistake. I absolutely could not handle that in any capacity. It was abysmal. I have no doubt. I can say with confidence that it is the worst conversation she had ever been a part of, and probably to this day is still the worst conversation she has ever been a part of. With each sentence that I diarrheaed out, I could feel it getting more and more uncomfortable for the both of us. So, do you like alcohol? I mean, it's a good beverage. Envelope adhesives, how do they keep those damn things together? You know, some strong shit. Oh, this is some nice shoes. I like shoes. I wear shoes sometimes, too. I don't wear shoes when I sleep, though. I take shoes off when I sleep. I'm not weird. I don't take the shoes. It was fucking miserable. And this continues for about 15 or 20 minutes. I don't know how she resisted the urge to just puke in my face, but she just let me keep going. I'm just over here hooting and hollering about our universe being a simulation or some shit. And then eventually she gets so bored, and I'm confused because I'm having a conversation with myself in my head, and I'm having one with her. So I was just, by the end of it, I didn't know if I was talking to myself or talking to her. It was just a weird situation altogether. But she gets so bored, and she puts the kibosh on it. She says, "Look, I've been having a shit week, and I just want to go home with a guy tonight, okay?" And then she puts her hand on my hand. And then I looked her in the eyes. We locked eyes for a minute. And I said to her, "Well, you're gonna have to hurry up because the bar's clearing out. I wish you the best of luck finding a guy, but if you don't find one, I'll eat your pussy for a little bit if you want." That is verbatim what I said to her in response to that. I could never forget those words. They're burned into my brain. The second those escaped my mouth, I became sober. I was inebriated going into it. I said that, and then I could have flown a fucking plane at that point. I could feel my asshole pucker. My anus was becoming the universe. It was like every cell in my body was being bludgeoned by a cactus. For me, this was proof that whatever higher power or creator exists, they truly don't care about this world. Because if they did, they would have sent a fucking wild ice cream truck to take me out right then and there. And the look on her face, I will never forget it. It was a look of pure shock, confusion, and anger. Every emotion a human is capable of feeling, she felt in that moment. And then she pretended to get a phone call so she had an excuse to leave. That makes her a good person in my book, because what she should have done is say, "Hey, get the fuck away from me, you creepy homunculus," or something to that effect, because that's what I deserved. She was nice enough to actually make it seem like she just had something else to do instead of just telling me to fuck off, which she absolutely had a right to do because she had just put up with my ranting and raving for 20 minutes, and then I basically just rejected her to her face with my last little humdinger there. So to me, that woman is a hero. Now to make matters even worse though, my friend's sister and the girl's friend heard what I said. It's like the music in the bar just cut out and everyone stopped talking right before I uttered those words. But luckily, she never mentioned it because I'm assuming she erased it from her memory immediately after, so that way she would spare her mind the anguish of trying to comprehend what the fuck I was thinking when I said that. But yeah, so that's the story. It was by far the most uncomfortable situation I'd ever been a part of and created. I mean, I did both. I was both the participant and the orchestrator. So it was weird. But yeah, that's the story. That's it. See ya.